This is the NQ80 Daily, and today I'm with Isabel. It's a long time no see. How are you doing?
I know, very good. I'm at uni now, so trying to fit in the time, but yeah.
Would you like to tell the people what city you're in?
I don't know whether I should. I'm in Liverpool, but closer to Manchester, so that's good.
Good. Yeah. Easy escape anyway.
Exactly.
Very good. We're going to sort of talk about the manager situation because it's been fast moving. I feel like I've done a ton of content in the last few days. It's all been out of date by the time I published it. So talk a little bit about our feelings about the whole process, because it's a little bit odd, I guess, firing the manager 9 games into the season and then extracting what looks to be a highly promising, much sought after young coach from another team. So first, what was your reaction? Where were you when you found out?
I'd just woken up. And to be honest, I was a bit shocked, but I felt like it was coming. I think it got to a point where just no fans were behind the team anymore. And I think that's where you've got to look at it from that perspective and think, actually, look, it's not right. But I do think it's funny how not even 48 hours later, we've got another manager, which is just things that fast don't happen at Manchester United. So I feel like it was not normally. So I feel like it's kind of INEOS knew what they were doing in a way. It's interesting.
Well, it was reported today that they'd talked to his people and got a verbal yes before the international break. So this was planned. So I guess it didn't really matter what result we got against West Ham, unless it was some mega turnaround, but that was unlikely to happen. So they've done what they've done with all their other appointments. They've gone and found the guy that they think is the right person for the role and gone and extracted them. So it's the kind of online narrative, at least, has been kind of turning a little bit against the new management team. People want instant results, don't they? Or they want Ten Hag instantly fired, and I guess it feels a bit like they dithered in the summer over this one. That would have been the time to do it. Yeah,
for me, in terms of, I mean, football's not fair really, but I think in terms of looking at it from like Ten Hag's perspective, I don't think it is fair on him in a way. You know, I think what it was is sacking a manager after a FA Cup win. How can you do that? It's a big thing to do, and I think there would have been a lot more mixed reviews. Whereas I feel like they've kind of, whether they knew what they were doing, I mean, it looks like it. They've gone into this new season, let him have a couple games and him be, you know, not get us any wins or anything. It's just not good enough. And I just think they kind of knew what they were doing, but I do think it's a little bit unfair. I do.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's a brutal business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone talks very respectfully about not wanting another manager's job or not talking about players from other teams, but let's be honest, everyone's pissing on everyone's graves in this business, and there's the successful people have a trail of bodies behind them. So, like Ruben Amorim, as much as he would be respectful in public, he's clearly jumped at the chance to join United. And like in terms of like the INEOS process, it is they're giving him enough rope to fail. So I guess there's that. It would have been much cleaner in the summer, clearly, because they brought in 4 new coaches. Yeah. And are they staying on, or are they all going to be swapped out too? Are Amorim's people going to come in from Sporting? Bit's a little bit messy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just all a bit confusing. And obviously, we're not going to, find out all of that information right now. But I think, we are going to want to know. If you're sacking a manager this early into the season, which I think it's the earliest Manchester United have sacked a manager, I think. Like, it's a big thing to do.
Right,
yeah, it's a big thing to do. And you've got to kind of, now this is the chance to get the fans behind you. And look, we might have a new manager bounce and it'd be great for a couple of months, or it might just carry on the way it is. We don't know. But I think you've got to kind of be clear with the fans in a way, seen as, I feel like half of this is, to please the fans. So I think it's just
So Jim has spent 1.3 billion pounds so far, and it'll be a lot more by the time he completes the acquisition on a legacy project. I mean, it's not about making money for him, is it? This is about his reputation, his legacy, restoring United to the top. So I think we can frame everything in that kind of way, and the way he thinks about it. So although they did that review in the summer and ended up keeping Ten Hag, I do feel like there was an emotional element to it. So I mean, he'd have been sacked, wouldn't he? If United had lost the cup final 2-1 rather than winning it 2-1, he'd have been fired that day.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Review or
interesting
no
one.
review. Yeah.
I know. It's like, what's the whole point in keeping him and getting him to sign a new contract? I just don't get it. If this was their plan all along.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the new contract was. There's a cost to it, obviously.
Yeah.
There's, it's going to cost United £5 million or whatever it is for that extra year. But I feel like that was to make sure he wasn't a lame duck. So if he'd gone into the season with just a year left, maybe the players would have been thinking, "Oh well, this manager's out anyway."
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So and one of the things, like, for all Ten Hag's faults, and his stubbornness is clearly a major fault because he just refused to change anything. He doesn't seem to have lost the players. I don't get the sense that they're just down tools. Like, it wasn't as toxic and chaotic as, say, the end of Mourinho.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was, I always think under, like that moment when we were under Rangnick, and the players were just not there, like, at all. And no, I agree. I'm not getting that sense from the players, actually. But I do think, when you're making these wrong decisions, like spending, how much was Ugarte? Was it 60 million?
60 million euros, I think.
Yeah,
with that. So like 50 million pounds around.
Yeah, a good amount of money. And you're not playing him in matches where actually I think he could be useful. I was just I'm watching these matches thinking, what are you doing? Like, I couldn't actually believe how he's not playing these players. And it's looking at Ahmad. How can Ahmad be player of the month last month? And then you're not giving him any minutes. I just find it mad. And that's where I'm looking at Ten Hag and thinking, yeah, you're not thinking right, because even the players might be behind him, great, but actually, all in all, we're not getting the results, and that's what you have to look at, I think.
When a manager gets sacked, all the stories start coming out. Players or coaches who didn't really want to be going on the record, or they won't go on the record now, but so I've seen stories so far today about Darren Fletcher having to take hours to talk Ten Hag around about the tactics in the cup final. Really? I think some of that had kind of leaked before, but apparently Darren was the one that really said, "Hey, no, we have to be a bit more defensive and plan the break," which worked. And stories about training and players being made to do extra training after bad results and going into the following game tired. I'm not surprised about that at all. I mean, if you remember, like, when we lost, what was it, 4-0 to Brentford, and you made them, and we, as a squad, they'd run 13 kilometres less than Brentford, so he made them all go run 13 kilometres.
Yeah.
So, kind of headmaster-ish, wasn't it?
Yeah. I always felt like Ten Hag as well kept his cards quite close to his chest, especially in the recent interviews. He was just not giving anything, and he was very I felt like he just knew his fate, to be honest. Like, that was the vibe that I was getting this season. Definitely, he wasn't really giving off much, but it's a difficult one because, like you were saying about like the headmaster role thing. He, like, when he first came to United, I remember in one of the pre-season matches, I can't remember which one it was, but just watching him actually interact with the players on the pitch. He was on the pitch, they were doing the kind of warm-up, and I just remember thinking, actually, this manager looks really good, and like he looks like he knows what he's talking about. The way he was speaking to the players, he looked really good, and I just don't want this same thing to happen with, Amorim. We have this kind of bounce and then it just fades off, and I don't want this cycle to carry on. We need to actually start progressing somewhere as a club.
I mean, absolutely. And we'll find out more about Amorim in the weeks and months to come, of course, and how he adapts his tactical setup, which has typically been a 3-4-3, which is not a system played very often at Manchester United.
No.
Pretty attacking football, mind you. I mean, defensively, Sporting were amazing last season. They barely gave up a chance. And they do play some nice football. It's just a system that's unusual for this club. So we'll see about that, and how he adapts from a much less intense league, both in terms of media and scrutiny and quality. The quality difference between the top and the bottom of Liga NOS is quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not true in the Premier League, where you'll be given a competitive game by the bottom team.
No.
So that's all to come, I guess. Personality-wise, I mean, I don't know. He gives off good aura. He looks like he feels comfortable in his own skin in a way that Ten Hag just didn't in the last few months. I don't know, you're too young to remember, but during the Iraq War, there was this general who was called Chemical Ali, because he used to gas his own people. But anyway, he would come out in front of the media and go, "There's nothing to see here, nothing's happening," and everyone laughed at him because it was like ridiculous. Ten Hag was like that in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Like just denying, like literally denied that we lost to Tottenham.
I know. When he compared himself to Mourinho, I just found it funny. I mean, it just didn't seem like he knew what he was talking about himself. It was interesting to kind of, because I really liked Ten Hag at the start, and I always thought in his interviews he was very honest and kind of, you know, when it went wrong, he spoke about it. But then recently it's just been the same. And I think, I don't know, but every fan that I've spoken to recently were just all so mediocre about the situation. Like even that West Ham loss, like if we conceded a penalty that late last season, I would have, you know, been fuming, but I just really wasn't. I was just kind of like, oh, it is what it is. Like it's so like just boring at Manchester United right now. Like we need, I think this is I do think it's a good time. I know it's early, but getting this new manager in, hoping we can just, you know, step up a little bit. I just want to see us do well. I just want to see us get some wins.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have a level of patience as Amorim adapts to the club and to the league and starts to impose his tactical system on players who are unfamiliar with it, mostly. Although at international level, a few of them. So the Dutch players will be familiar with three at the back because that's the way that Holland have been playing. There's obviously Ugarte used to play at Sporting quite recently, knows Amorim well. He plays, so like, I'm not going to pretend I'm a tactical expert, but there's a really good coach's voice piece, which is my go-to on any tactical stuff. So he plays three at the back with a player who's comfortable stepping out into midfield. I think this could be good for Harry Maguire, interestingly enough, with a double pivot. So expect Ugarte and Casemiro to play for the time being, and then Menu when he's back, that'll be interesting. And then three up front, which is good for Garnacho and Rashford. And Højlund, not so good for Bruno. So I don't know where he fits into this. So it's not clear at all, that one.
No, it'll be interesting to see how he gets along. But I also think, you know, you were saying about this, we need a manager. I was saying this as well. We need a manager who is comfortable in these big leagues. Champions League, definitely. Obviously, I know we're not in the Champions League, but comfortable in European football. But also the Premier League is the most competitive league. And like you said, any team can beat anyone. It really doesn't matter. Like we can go ahead and beat City, or we can lose to Southampton next week. Like it literally just can happen like that. You know, any team can beat anyone. We need a manager to be aware of that and kind of adapt to these different teams that we're playing against.
He's going to have to adapt some of his tactics. So I think one of the major criticisms of Ten Hag, I mean, obviously lost a lot of games, but why did he lose a lot of games? Because he deployed tactics that worked well in the Eredivisie, like you know, high press, then drop off to a low block, leaving these big gaps that worked well against poor quality teams in the Eredivisie that will not work in the Premier League. Now, does Amorim have tactical weaknesses that will get exploited? Absolutely. Is he smart enough, intelligent enough, forward-thinking enough, and self-aware enough to adapt in a way that Ten Hag ultimately failed to do?
I hope so.
Hope so. I hope so. And look, as I said, he feels like he's got a bit of gravitas to him. I mean, we're going to get to know him better, aren't we? He speaks really good English for a start, which helps. He feels like he's got a bit of personality. You need that at Manchester United for sure, right? Like you can't have any like shrinking violets here. No. And so he just needs to come in, take charge. I did notice certain sections of United Twitter were commenting on his good looks. So, you know, he's already got some people on side. Hey.
Adds to it. It all adds to it.
Hey, no one's complaining, right? Yeah. I'm glad we haven't got another baldy. You know, he's got some hair. He's got a beard. You know,
he's got something about him.
He's got something about him. Yeah. So, do you think because there was a pretty terse statement that United put out, basically, you know, we've parted ways. Good luck for Erik in the future. And I can't remember how many words it was. Not many.
Not many. No.
No. It'd be nice to hear Barada or Ashworth or Sir Jim come out when Amorim is signed and sealed and appointed.
Yeah.
And talk about this decision and what they think about his coach and why, right?
Yeah. No, it'd be nice to definitely get some answers. I mean, we don't need to, Ten Hag's gone now. That's fine. But I want to see why, I want to know why this manager, because if it has been, I think it was rumored in the summer as well. And like you said, you said this, it was rumored in the summer. So it's looking like they've wanted him for a while. Why have they waited till now? I just find it a bit odd.
That was the odd one. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't know whether we'll get clarity on that one or not.
No.
One thing I did enjoy today quite a lot is the very rapid denials, and presumably coming from Manchester City's press department, that City were ever interested in this guy.
It's funny, isn't it? They don't want to stoop to like our level or whatever.
If this was the Ed Woodward era, I would be thinking, well, they've just got this guy because he came up in the press as being interested in Fred, Robin van Persie, who else was rumoured to be on the City wanted list, and we just went off, and Maguire, of course, was actually wanted by City.
Yeah.
But now I feel like they're making real sporting decisions. So.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping this will be it's got to work out. I think it's got to work out for Man United's perspective. I don't know what the word is, but it needs to work out because, look, like you said as well, it's another one of these work in progresses, isn't it? Bringing in a new manager, he's not going to be great, especially if he's playing this new system that's not used to Manchester United. It's not what the players are used to. But I think, to get the fans behind, we do need to do something before Christmas. We really do need to get some wins under our belt. Europa League especially as well. We need to get some wins. So everyone's going to be looking at him for that.
Oh, absolutely. Pressure will be on. There's no credit in the bank for him, so the pressure will be on straight away. He's fortunate in the Europa League, they are all easy fixtures. The next 5, there's just nothing there of any real quality.
Exactly.
So that's a nice bedding in process for him.
Yeah.
Premier League, you just got to hope that Rude is good counsel for him. I hope Rude is staying.
Yeah, he's just come.
And the other coaches, I guess Darren Fletcher on the technical side will be important.
Yeah.
And then Georgsson on set pieces. I don't know much about Amorim and his set piece setup or anything like that. No. So, it's that these other coaches got to provide the on ramp for the new manager, haven't they?
Definitely, it needs to definitely be a big team effort, and it is going to take a bit of time. We're not going to go ahead and deliver fantastic football, but I just want to see us with a bit more passion. I think this season especially, we actually did create chances. We just weren't scoring them. We weren't converting them into goals, and I think that's what we need Amorim to come in and do. We need our forwards to score goals. But obviously, it's not all about the manager; it is the players as well. But that's just something for the end of the season. We need to be scoring goals.
Ten Hag had a lot of square pegs in round holes. He was putting players out of position, especially Marcus Rashford. I know he's been a kind of lightning rod for criticism, but he's played deep and wide for 18 months now. It's absolutely mad. You get a player who has capability to score 30 goals a season. You get him as far away from the goal as possible. It's just madness. So hopefully in this if it is going to be a 3-4-3 system, that should get Rashford closer to the goal in dangerous areas. We know he's got the quality.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if he had a problem with Ten Hag, he's going to be feeling better about the world now.
Exactly.
So.
Well, this whole, we need to. I think Ten Hag this season as well was struggling to even know who to put at the front 3. Højlund, I think, is a pretty set in. Seeing Rashford, he was pretty set on Rashford. It was more of a Garnacho or Ahmad thing, and then obviously that makes it difficult because Garnacho's a left winger, Ahmad's a right winger. It doesn't really work. So I hope we get some clarity on actually who is going to be playing, week in, week out. I want to, obviously we can rotate and we want to see rotation, but I think we need more of a clear kind of idea of who's going to play, I think.
Yeah, and team identity, which just never happened under Ten Hag at all, right? No. So Amorim systems coach, you'd imagine he's going to create quite a clear team identity now. Yeah. Does that transport well from the Portuguese league to the Premier League? We're going to find out. But I'd be surprised if he's not able to impose an identity on this team.
No. Yeah.
So, all right.
We'll see.
Great. We'll see. Exciting times in a way, right?
Yeah. It is.
Hopefully this isn't out of date by the time I manage to post this, because everything else I've posted recently is out of date as soon as I posted it. So, yeah. We'll spend 20 minutes talking about Amorim, and then I'll post this and we'll find out that actually Ollie's coming back or something.
Yeah.
All right, Isabel, where can we find you on the internet?
Talk about United.
Very good. And you certainly do that, posting quite regularly, and channel's growing, I see. So good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Good to see you again. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye now.